great pleasure to be back with Allan Parker. G'day, Allan.
Good morning, Ian Berry. It's great to be here with you, as always.
Indeed. I think this is number 13, if I'm
Is it really?
if I'm correct. The Baker's Dozen.
It's my lucky number.
Well, there you go. There you
Yep.
go. I do like Baker's Dozens, but I have this sense that we're a long way from being done yet.
I have a feeling we've only just begun.
But today, folks, we thought we'd, as it turns out, more C's have bobbed up in our sort of preparation, and we're going to talk about caring, considered, and calming. Not necessarily, I don't think, Allan, in that order.
Yeah.
But we'll see where it goes. You might like to kick off, my friend.
Well, the question I had is, I wonder if order is as important a variable as we give it. Because we often want to do things in an order. People often want the answer. And given that I live in the world and I watch the world and I think, my goodness, one of the secrets of being happy and successful, not one without the other, being happy and successful is, can I be present, observant, really astutely listening, and then adaptable to what comes, not reactive to what comes. And I'm living most of the time in a state of just constantly living in a state of hitting the pause button.
Yes.
And giving myself time to decide what mental, emotional, physical state or feeling or experience do I want and need to have in my body to be able to honor what's going on with me and around me, and interact. Oh, I've just come up with another C, Ian. Interact with what's going on in a way that's complementary, not compensatory. Wow.
There's a whole bundle of stuff in that one.
Wow, that's just me describing my constant reminder to me. It's really that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
My feeling is that order is important sometimes.
Yes.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, if you don't put the key in the ignition and start the car first, you're not going anywhere. There is an order. And so I think order has its place. I even think hierarchy has its place.
Yes, so do I.
Hierarchy is a bad thing often, but it does have its place.
Yeah.
I love, I think, as you know, one of my favorite is Viktor Frankl's insight that between stimuli and response, there's a choice.
Yep.
And in that space lies our freedom.
That's, oh boy, am I with him on that one.
And I think that it's that choice, I've got a choice. Do I react? Do I respond? It's only a split second often, particularly with what you're saying. But so you're present, as you say, you're observant, but you're adapting to whatever the situation is, and you don't want to be reactive.
Yep.
I've been practicing this for a long time, and I'm now more responsive and less reactive. It's a work in progress.
Yes, it sure is. Sure is.
And I think this helps with the considered, calming piece of the puzzle, because I find that if I feel myself about to react, if I just take a quick deep breath to sort of calm myself, listen to my heart, not let the chatter in my head take over, and then respond, accordingly. When I do that, there seems to be a flow. When I don't do that, of course, there's chaos.
Yep. I think I resonate with you on that one. Yeah.
I think all of these, caring, considered, calming, they're about self-care, but they're also about care for others.
Yeah. Yep.
I think what I'm noticing, Alan, is that there's a lot more caring going on since the pandemic. Some people are pushing against it and think it's soft.
Yep.
I actually think it's hard. It's hard.
And I'm always fascinated when people refer to, and they don't refer to anything. They just say the soft skills. And I go,
an oxymoron.
If we call them soft, why are they so bloody hard?
That's right. I think soft skills is an oxymoron.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
To live our best life, to be the best human being that we can be, takes effort.
Yep.
It takes discipline.
Yep.
It takes courage. All of the things that we've talked about.
Yep.
The other C's, candid, conscious, all these things. Yes, I reject the idea totally of this silliness of soft skills.
Yeah, me too.
It's actually hard to be a good human.
Yeah.
To be the best human of ourselves. Now, I don't mean hard as in difficult, although there is difficulty.
Yeah. It's
just work. We've got to work at it.
Yeah.
And the great paradox is we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You and I need one another. We need other people.
And yet it can be easier for me to do it on my own. I just can't survive on my own.
It's just one of the mysteries, isn't it? Because we try that. I think a lot of men sort of try that. They want to go it alone. Be tough. All this stuff, and therefore they don't let other people in. And they bottle it up, and of course it expresses itself in violence or whatever.
Well, it expresses itself in mortality because males die before females do. Yeah.
We have the highest suicide rate in Australia, as I understand it, for males between the ages of 18 and 24.
Yep.
So something's terribly wrong.
Yep.
And this is a part of it. Men bottling up, not being able to express their feelings, trying to go it alone, trying to be the hero.
Yeah.
Not letting their family or friends or partners or whatever inside, because although we are on an individual journey, we can't do it alone. It's the great paradox.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know as a younger man, I was like that. I had trouble letting people in. It was only back in 1985, in actual fact, a couple of mates and myself, we were talking about this, and we agreed that we'd meet once a week in Philip's shed by the potbelly stove, and we'd help each other. And so a bunch of blokes, we got together.
A bunch of blokes.
But it was beneficial for all of us, and we called ourselves the Journeymen, which Steve Biddulph referenced in his first book, Manhood. But it was the beginning for me of peer groups and being part of community groups, which of course eventually became my work and is now most of my work.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of, as you know, being part of the groups. We meet every week and we share, we live out loud.
Yeah.
We share what's going on.
I love that. I love that term.
I think it helps us to let other people in and realize that we're not alone.
Yeah.
Because I think people that don't care for themselves enough and are not kind to themselves, it's because they're trying to go it alone.
Yeah.
Can't be done.
Ian, I've got two things that you've said that somehow or other my brain wants to put them together. Big Aussie blokes, don't need to tell you, what's going on for me. I'm a man. I'm tough.
Yeah, she'll be right, mate, in Australia, of course.
Right, and I'll take care of it. It's okay. And it's okay as a good shutdown.
Yeah.
But you use the phrase, and I've circled it with my green highlighter pen, stop. And you paused, and then you said, listen to my heart.
Yes.
And one of the things I love to do when I'm interviewing is ask a question. And if there's no pause after the question and the answer comes out, I wait for it and I acknowledge it.
Mm.
And then I go, can I ask that again? I just want you to see if you can pause for a minute and come up with a second answer for it.
Mm. Mm.
And 9 times out of 10, this is what they do. And they take oxygen in. They breathe. And you can watch them. I always say those people who answer quickly invariably are living above their collarbone.
It's a head answer first most of the time.
Programmed.
Yeah.
Programmed. And I've actually rehearsed it 50 times before the meeting. I've rehearsed it. And the question, out it comes. And I'm a great believer, I'm a linguist, I'm a believer in logical levels. And if I can get you to answer the second question, the answer with the second, if you can answer the question with a second attempt with oxygen,
yes,
it's always a different one.
Probably a hard answer. I mean, it took me 3 years to stop responding or reacting with my head, and to make my heart the first response.
Yeah,
I learnt from the lovely folk at Heart Math, which I recommend to folks. They've done an absolute ton of research on the heart, and it was when my wife was ill back in 2015, and we were kind of desperate for some answers. Mm-hmm. We began the whole exploration, and we stumbled on the Heart Math stuff. And the research is pretty clear. The heart knows, whereas the head thinks it does. It's based on the past.
Yep.
But the heart knows, and if you learn to listen to your heart first, and then the head has a more considered response. Yeah. And of course, we know from other research that the heart and mind have got this incredible connection. So it took me 3 years to break the habit of listening with my head first and listen to my heart first.
Yeah,
it was hard work.
Yeah,
but I think one of the great blessings, though.
Yeah, my proposition there would be for a lot of people that's a big leap. And my repeating of questions, and not necessarily straight away, I might come back to it later. And in fact, I was interviewing somebody yesterday, an executive in an organization, and I'd asked for a second interview. Wonderfully articulate person, and really insightful, but collarbone up. And so I conducted the whole interview above the collarbone. And then I said, can I have another 20 minutes with you in a few days once you've percolated all that?
Yes. Yes, I think that's a really good and better approach, because I know when I first started talking about heart leadership, it was a leap too far for most people. That's part of the reason I wrote the book, to try and give people a deeper explanation, because a lot of people said to me, I haven't got 3 years, which, fair enough. I get that it's a big leap. And so what I now talk to people about is that, we've got to embrace two theories that I think work really well. One is the science of quantum leaps.
Yeah.
Because most people think quantum leaps is big jump, but actually the science says, no, it's not a big jump. It's actually a small shift, a tiny shift. So I call them small yet significant shifts. And if you take one after another, you get to the second piece of information, which is the aggregation of marginal gains.
Yep.
Which I learned from the British cycling team.
Yep.
Who wanted to be the world's best, and they went about looking for 1% improvement in every single area of the whole cycling.
Yep.
And then they aggregated the marginal gains.
Yeah.
So I think those two things, because it is a huge leap, because everyone's used to responding first with the head.
Yeah.
But in my view, responding with the heart first is a far better way to go. It allows the head to be more considered.
Yeah.
And calmer too. But it does take a work. So I recommend people start with small yet significant shifts and then aggregate the gains over time.
I love that.
They're two of the great insights, I think. One from quantum physics, which of course is all about that we live in a world of infinite possibility.
Yep.
So there's always zillions of choices to make in a moment.
Yep.
So we help ourselves by listening to our heart, because the heart knows. And then we're more considered with our response. And I think more caring for other people as well.
Yeah.
Because we've touched into humanness. We've
Yeah.
tapped into our humanness.
Yeah. My concern about caring from the head, I think from my own experience, if I care from my head, I get cautious.
Yes.
If I get care from my heart, I get compassionate.
I think it's a combination, Alan, of
Yeah.
in the Heart Leadership book, I talk about, well, it's an order.
Yeah.
First of all, there's harmony. You know, it's having an intention for harmony.
Yep.
Then it's the heart, then it's the head, but then it's the hands. You know,
Yep.
I borrowed the heart, head, hands. It's been used by lots of people.
Yeah.
I found it a useful order. So harmony, heart, head, hands. So we've got to take some action.
Yep.
And that leads to the fifth, which is happenstance.
I love that word.
And it's just working on that. But the first step to all of this is to be in harmony with yourself and have an intention to be in harmony with everyone else, but also nature and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the world wants to be in a state of harmony.
Yep.
Our natural state, I believe, is harmony with one another and our planet.
Yep.
And we've got a whole lot of folk and different forces trying to disrupt the harmony. They won't succeed because our natural state is harmony.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's a flow to heart, head, hands, happenstance being a consequence.
Yeah.
So I think that's an example of where order is important.
Yep.
Because a lot of people rush off and do, and don't think heart, head. They just rush off and do. And so it's hands first.
Yeah.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah. 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 I've got a little twist running in my thinking. And there's two bits going on. Heart, head, always concerns me a bit, because I know from conflict in my negotiation world, the minute you do an either or, you've got potential of conflict or tension.
Yes.
And I'm always an advocate for, if you can put 5 steps in and make them quantum steps.
Yes.
Not a big heart to head to heart, and you've gone harmonious intent, heart, head, hand, happenstance, and there's your 5 layers. Now that's very, very palatable to almost anybody. And I'm wondering, you use the word combination, and I'm wondering, what would happen if we put head and heart together and had them be friends with each other and make collective agreements?
I think it would be powerful because it is together. And I mean, biologically, as I understand it, the heart, when we are faced with whatever it is, the heart biologically is responding first, but it's a millisecond away from the head. So
Yeah.
there's this connection between heart and head that's already there.
Yeah.
I mean, the heart has a brain too.
Yep. Yeah.
And the two brains, if you like, as I understand it, are intimately connected.
Yeah.
And so there's already a collective going on. We just perhaps have to acknowledge it and recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that does reduce the likelihood of tension and conflict, as you say. But part of the reason why harmony is first is because that's got to be our intention.
Yeah. So I think I hope people watching and listening aren't getting bored by us, but we're both pretty clear that setting the state and the intent and getting me in the right place to be the best I can be at whatever the circumstances is pretty much something we agree on.
Yeah, look, I think we know this from our work in facilitation and any kind of learning environment.
Yeah.
It's setting the scene or framing things is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's like I often, if I'm working with a group, will spend what seems an inordinate amount of time on getting harmony, the intentions for harmony right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before going to the others, because if the intention is not to, what's that wonderful line of yours that agreement is already in the room?
Yes. Yeah.
We just have to
find it.
And you say not create it.
Not create it.
And so setting the scene for that, setting the scene for any outcome is a critical piece of it all. And I think it's just what we're saying is the same thing here.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in harmony with myself, and I've got a pure intention to be in harmony with you and whoever else is in the room, I think that has in itself a calming, kind of considered effect.
No doubt whatsoever. No doubt in my mind.
And then the heart-head combination leads to natural, a clarity of action, I think.
Yeah.
That wonderful line from Frederick Harron, clarity is the answer no matter what the question.
I love it.
And I think that comes through this sort of process. I put a post out today, Allan, on my blog and also LinkedIn. I called it leadership citizenship.
Oh, nice. Nice.
There's a lot of stuff out there on citizen leadership.
Yep.
I like it the other way around. But one of the things I put forward there is I think we need more people who, who really are global citizens, but also local and national, where we're setting the example ourselves and dealing with whatever we can influence in terms of society's challenges.
Yep.
And then combining together.
Yeah.
And I recommended a couple of books at the end of the post, one of them being Citizens by John Alexander.
Yeah.
Because we've gone from, we're moving out of what he calls a consumer story into a citizen story. And there's a heck of a lot of momentum going on in the world today. Yes, there are troubles in the world, but there's massive momentum that's going the other way to restore peace and harmony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, as I say, for me, is our natural state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm seeing, witnessing, but you and I are also involved in this. There's a lot of caring, considered, calming conversations going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And common sense will prevail, my friend. No, another C.
Common sense. That will be an interesting conversation, Mr. Barrett. I've got two things running. One is, because I'm such a nerd, and I think I'm actually I'm a caring, considerate, loving, generous human being in the core, and yet I'm a super learned nerd. And I've spent a lot of time studying and reading and really looking at things scientifically, and I've over-generated my head neurons, if I can use that language. And I'm always keeping myself in check. Number one, that I'm always caring, and that I do things to remind myself how important caring is. And number two is that I make sure I'm in touch with what I'm feeling. And two things I do very deliberately, very, very frequently, is I spend time, I'm virtually always in the room before a meeting or before a presentation or before anything, and I actually clean the space. So before we started, I got out a brand new roll of flip chart paper, and I put new flip chart paper up, and I got blue tack out, and I put blue tack along here so that I'm organized, and I demonstrate my caring and put caring energy into the room.
Yeah, I do the same. If you looked at my desk at the moment, you'll see that it's all organized for our conversation, and I spent 2 or 3 minutes just taking in some Allan energy and looking forward and getting myself in a place of harmony.
Yeah.
I think when people come into the room, they unconsciously notice that the space has been cleaned.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do the same for our, Wise Leaders community gatherings. Even though it's online, the principles are the same.
Yep. And there's something that it does to me that elicits my caring.
Yeah, me too.
Throughout, I'm mindful that I have a really strong wiring and capacity and learned skill to slide above my collarbone, and I can get too heady. And so what I've learned to do is I make sure I'm touching myself as often as I can to remind myself. Number one, I put my hand there around my chin to remind myself to shut up while I'm listening. Which is again my way of it's my way of reminding myself to care about what you're saying. And the other is I constantly do touch, because my head doesn't have the desire to touch.
No.
But my heart has the desire to touch. So I've learned a whole lot of physical things that I do, including, writing the keynotes. Now, I don't write anything that I said. I only write what you say.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Unless I make a note to myself to look at something later.
Yes.
But my notes, I'm already on page 3 of notes today. It's an interesting way to listen.
Yeah, it is.
Writing down what other people are saying.
Yep.
I also find that it unclutters the mind.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a prolific note taker.
Yeah.
And because I don't want it in here, I want it somewhere else that's accessible.
Yeah.
I find it a good uncluttering tool, which of course it's also a strategy that works to get rid of the useless chatter.
I say, God bless that chatter.
I mean, it's just, I think whatever we can do to stop the chatter is a good thing. And I think these are all good techniques.
Yeah, absolutely.
To do that.
Yeah.
I wonder is what we're talking about, is it practical enough for folks? Are we too much in our heads about this, paradoxically? Can we make it more practical, or is what we're saying enough? But by the way, folks, drop us a line below the video if you have comments or questions, because we want to make this practical. This is not some lofty bullshit. It's actually practical.
Yeah. And it's probably due time that we started requesting people's questions and input.
Yes.
They become part of the conversation.
Yes.
That might be worth us giving consideration to.
I'm actually thinking that we will invite some folk to join us.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Soon for that purpose.
Yep.
I think we continue as we are, just to talk, but I think there's a time and place which I think is now to open the space.
I think you're right. Yep.
So we'll explore that.
I've got 4 minutes before I'm on a call to Seoul, Korea.
Well,
so my question to you, sir,
yes,
is what has your heart said or let you know is the most important message we've covered? What touched your heart?
I think the rawness of it, the realness of this when we do it.
Yeah.
There's an authenticity to it.
Yeah. I think it's what you've done several times with your hands, and I think I did a couple of times myself, is can I have awareness around letting my heart and my head become good friends?
Yes. I think that's a real key, Alan.
To really admire both.
Yeah, we're often enemies.
Yeah.
And we need to be friends, allies.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What a time to
that's nice. Yeah.
End today's conversation, Mr. Parker.
Yeah. Yep. I think so too, Mr. Berry. Great to see you.
We'll see you on Monday.
Keep being well. I'll see you Monday.
Terrific.
Have a great weekend. Give Carol my love and a big hug.
Same. Bye.
Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.